All right, folks, welcome to the damn Bidondi Show. We got a special presentation for you today. It's the Occult and Secret Societies within the Third Reich, and this is out of Gary Wayne's book, awesome book, I should say, The Genesis 6 Conspiracy, where you can find it on genesis6conspiracy.com. The website's right there, and we got Gary on the phone here, via Skype, here that we're going to discuss. Let me just pull Gary up here. And Gary, this is Gary Wayne here from the Genesis 6 Conspiracy, and we're going to be talking about in his book, chapter 45, again, the Occult and Secret Societies within the Third Reich, because we had a lot of people who somehow, someway think that Hitler was a practicing Christian and everything else. It's just an attempt to demonize Christianity, if you ask me, but it's unreal what people, I can't wrap my head around it, man. So, without further ado, here's Gary Wayne, guest author here of the Genesis 6 Conspiracy. And Gary, how you doing, brother?
I am doing absolutely fine tonight, and so happy to be with you on your broadcast. And the topic I think is an excellent one, and I agree with you. There's just so much misinformation about Hitler and the Nazis and everything about them, how they began, what they did, and it's part of that. I think sort of hidden history that is suppressed. That people who are suppressing this information just don't want people to know all of it, connect all of the dots, because then it would tip their hand for the end time. So I think what we're going to talk about tonight might be a little bit eye-opening for a lot of people tonight, and I certainly hope that it will be, because I think most people aren't aware of at least many of the details that we're going to talk about tonight.
Absolutely, and when I read this chapter a couple weeks back, man, when I was telling you before we started here, it just, wow, what a show this would be, because this is stuff I've been trying to explain to people, but obviously your chapter is a lot more stuff than I knew, and so this is so awesome. I mean, it's bad stuff that happened, absolutely, but this is just so awesome information that people should know, because we had Edmund Burke, one of the founding fathers, stated that those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, and the Bible says to know your enemy in Ephesians chapter 5. So it's very good to know your enemy, because, and the reason why people say, well, the Third Reich ain't around no more, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is, again, if you don't know your enemy, history can repeat itself if we do not know the tactics and the vials of our enemy. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. So much of what happened after World War II is as a result of what was happening with the Nazis, and it's analogous to learn those details, because people they don't really connect a lot of dots, and I know people might have heard that Hitler is considered like an antichrist figure of Nostradamus. And Nostradamus is a Rosicrucian and a polytheist and alchemist and all that wonderful stuff. But we should not dismiss what the spurious forces are believing, thinking, doing, because it's all interconnected. So we should understand why they think he was an antichrist figure, and that's some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight.
Absolutely, and the secret societies that he was involved with, and just whole mixing, like you said, and because if anybody should remember Operation Paperclip, when they brought the Nazi scientists and SS officers here, and that's who runs our space program, intelligence agencies. So a lot is spawned off this, and that's why it's very important that we should know this information.
Yeah, exactly. And just to sort of underscore what you're talking about before we start getting into how they were formed and what their religion was, what they believed and everything like that. When we look at what happened with the Nazis, they had this sudden acceleration of knowledge and military tactics, science and stuff like that. When Hitler comes to power, this country is basically bankrupt, really no army, military, air force whatsoever. And within less than a decade, they have developed a blitzkrieg military model that revolutionized modern war. They have developed airplanes that are better than England or the U.S. or anywhere else. I mean, that Messerschmitt was just revolutionary in its time. And then they developed things like jet engines, rockets, and they're very close to developing nuclear weapons. And they developed a Tiger and Panzer tanks, which are still the base model for how they build the modern tanks today with that low profile and the power that they had. Had they been able to produce these weapons in the numbers required, they would have won the war. There's no doubt about it. They would have had such a significant advantage. Then they had this sort of bell-shaped thing that everybody still speculates on whether or not it was a time machine or a super weapon or whatever it might have been. And all of this information was, as you said, wrapped up with Operation Paperclip for the most part goes to the U.S. to start the U.S. rocket program and space program and modern weapons. And this acceleration of knowledge that they get, they actually speak. We're speaking openly about how they got it after the war, except that people like Winston Churchill, who I have a lot of respect for, but they thought they better not bring in all of the occult sort of ideology at the Nuremberg trials and the other trials as they were trying the Nazis because they were afraid that would present an insanity case. But they were occultists. They believed that they were talking to spiritual masters or spiritual guides or aliens or whatever you want to call them. The White Brotherhood, Ascended Masters, many names for them. They were receiving this knowledge, which accelerated all of this. And they didn't do it on their own because it's impossible to do all of that in less than a decade. This is analogous for what's happening today. I think we're seeing another acceleration of that knowledge as we move into World War III and Armageddon and the end time. So I think it's very important to understand these occult relationships and that what happened in World War II and particularly Nazi Germany is analogous for the end time. Those are the details that we're going to get into.
Yeah, and has anybody seen the Indiana Jones sagas? I mean, you had them chasing the Cup of Christ, the Holy Grail, and everything, and the Nazis were very much involved in this kind of history, and in real life too. I mean, they were going after the Grail and many other religious artifacts.
Oh yeah, I mean that is not just fiction. Indiana Jones. It's based on actual history now. I don't believe that they were had found the Ark as the first Indiana Jones movie, but they were after all of the Grail Hallows, the Spear of Longinus, which they did recover, and now in the Austrian museum, because they wanted to reach into that power of the occult to help them along in terms of what they were trying to do. And they were following the knowledge of an occult researcher and archaeologist called Otto Rahn. And he was doing excavations, and leading parties all over the world. One of the areas he was focusing on was Montasegur in Languedoc, which is the epicenter of the Holy Blood and Holy Grail novels that were written in the 80s, which people may or may not be familiar with, but that's that Gnostic epicenter where the Templars were, and the Albigensians, and the Cathars, and the mystical Jewish people that escaped out of France. And this is an area that they believe Mary Magdalene had actually settled as well. And their belief, not my belief, but their belief that she had offspring by Jesus. But that's a different rabbit hole, not a subject we're going to talk about tonight. Again, I don't buy into it, but they do. And they believe that this is where the treasures of Jerusalem went when Jerusalem was ransacked by the Romans in 70 AD by the Romans, and then by the Visigoths in about 400 CE, taking that wealth and treasure knowledge in artifacts to Montasegur, and they pulled out just an incredible amount of things that were, and we don't get the whole list, but not only were there, things of gold and coins and artifacts and scrolls and things, but there were things in their communications back to Berlin that they weren't prepared to put in. That one wonders what else they found there. So this whole thing that they were doing with trying to find things about the Grail and anything with Volkish ideology was again all part of this cult that they had formed within Germany. So maybe we should look at taking that whole understanding back to the beginning so that people can understand what we're saying because we're talking about things but we're not really giving them the base for it. So as a quick overview, the Nazi movement grew out of occultism and occultists, Freemasonry, Illuminati, Rosicrucianism, so secret societies, and specifically some German secret societies like the Germanen or the Thule Society. We'll talk more about these as we go. The Teutonic Knight Order, which was sort of a sister Knight order to the Knights Templar or the Knights of St. John. The real ideology connected with Volkish ideology, real goes back to Rosicrucianism, and of course the religious side is Theosophy, which they took that religion and went rogue with it and called it Ariosophy, overlaying Arian and Theosophy to make a new word. And you have this creation of this nation state not only through step-by-step process in a very short period of time, with all of these groups working directionally together, but you also have banking that's involved in here that was funding National Socialism. So it was an actual creation. It wasn't a natural thing that happened. And so
it's just like a giant pot of all this evil mixed into it. It's insane, man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you couldn't create at that time. I think a larger sort of conspiracy to build a evil empire. I just don't know how else to describe all of this coming together, all of the worst ideology that you could have in the world. And the reason was National Socialism, and that's the first thing I want to underline is Nazis aren't right wing. They are National Socialists. That's why their policies were pretty much the same thing as the progressives, which was their Western counterpart at that time. And progressivism goes back, right to the turn of the century, and of course, like with Woodrow Wilson and so many of the others that were promoting it. And so it went underground for a while because of what happened in World War II. But it's the same thing that we have today, and their policies were very much similar to what the Nazis were doing. We don't see the progressive movement as extreme as the Nazis are today, but given access to power as a progressive, as opposed to a liberal movement, one ought to be very, very afraid. And this is similar what's going to happen in the end time with that extreme left-wing group. So I'm just going to walk this back to the beginning, Dan, and let people understand how this thing sort of comes together. So in 1864, there is a German by the name of Karl Humann, as I remember it, and he goes to Greece and excavates Pergamum. And Pergamum is a very, very important name for the end time. And by the 1870s and 1880s, he's raised the money to excavate Pergamum. And for people who aren't familiar with Pergamum, it's one of the 7 churches that are listed in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 as for this synagogue of Satan. And what Pergamum is a very ancient semi-ancient location that originally held a library and was a great city and was a home of the seven sacred sciences that were being developed, and it was a city of the arts, theaters, and a city of doctors, and it was sort of second to Alexandria. But it had this great throne of Zeus, which people understand as throne of Satan. And this is what is part of the early movement that the Germans are trying to excavate this and then get it back to Germany to put the throne of Satan in Germany with their ever expanding and powerful empire. And then by 1871, they actually find the altar of Zeus. And now that is really creating excitement, particularly with the new movement that is starting to take shape that's led by Helen Blavatsky called Theosophy. And it's an extension out of Gnosticism. That is the older religion of the Rosicrucians, and it's created to bridge science and religion for the end time, and it's to be the religion of the end time. And the New Age movement comes out of Theosophy as that evolution comes about, and they're dominated by Rosicrucians that are running this religion. And by 1878, the altar of Zeus is now moved to Berlin. So you start to see Theosophy rising. You have the throne of Satan being moved to Berlin, and you're going to see a new religion start to take shape just a little bit different. We called Ariosophy in Germany shortly thereafter. They're going to make it more sort of
real quick. Wasn't that the same place that President Obama made his Citizen of the World speech?
Yes. Yep. No coincidence. Just as when he had that great speech in Denver, they had all these pillars and stuff like that. That was very much emblematic of that. So this is going to be a significant sign of the end time. We can imagine what's going to happen in the abomination, because that is going to be the throne of Satan at the 3.5-year point of the last 7 years. So it's important to understand that all of this is going to be analogous for what's going to be happening in the end time. So we're going to see a throne of Satan, just as Antichrist is crowned, Antichrist of the world, or the king of the world, and Satan is cast down to the earth at that point in time. So they're going to be working in conjunction out of that throne in the end time. And then in 1884, you have the Fabian Society and progressive politics being established. So it's the precursor to the National Socialist movement that's going to come sooner. And that's in 1878. And socialism is being designed by Rosicrucians and the secret societies as social masonry. So the platform is being built, and this is 1884. And then 1889, Hitler is born. So now we're starting to see some of these things sort of shape up as part of the components and the players to what's going on. And in 1899, you have the Rhodes Society, founded by the Rothschilds and the Round Tables, and creating an inquiry that's all designed to bring about world government. And so again, the people don't understand that what Hitler was trying to do is he was trying to dominate the world. So he was trying to do it through warfare. And the Nazis were created to it'll come after you have the rise of communism. But the Nazis are going to be funded to offset another pilot project that these groups were doing when they created communism, to overthrow one of their rivals. There's always rivals bloodlines. And World War I was just a war of family members, and they're all cousins because they all intermarry. As all the royal bloodlines do is they take their bloodlines back to the Nephilim. And so again, we get more of this base being built that's going to come all together very shortly after. And then by 1900, you have Theosophy morphing to the rogue offshoot of the Pan-Aryan sort of contamination, as they like to take it. So it's going to go very, very much extreme and against some of the aspects of the secret societies, and it will go rogue after a while, which is why the money will be turned around to defeat them, because they're trying to slaughter all of the Jewish people in the end, even the satanic Jews. And of course, it's the satanic ones and the secret societies and the banking system and the money that saying, we're not funding you to destroy all of us. So that's when things go rogue and Hitler starts to be challenged by the real money. And then, at the end of the day, it's the money that's backing the Allies to help win the war. And then between 1901 and 1905, you get some significant sort of groups being created that are going to go into building these organizations. And so it starts with the creation of the German Orden by von List, and it's a Teutonic Indo-Aryan influence and also an Illuminati influence. So,
I want to ask you a quick question about the German Order. It just reminds me so much of the German Union back in the 1700s that were created by Adam Weishaupt. Is that the same type?
Yes. That's why I say that it's got the Illuminati aspect. And understand that. The sort of a Renaissance resurrection of the Illuminati, because I believe it was actually created in the 1500s. In Bavaria, the Illuminati has and they are distinctly they have two roles in the secret society roles. And those roles are to one destroy Christianity and two create world government. And you have this Illuminati influence over the creation of the German organization. And a couple of other things people to keep in mind would be von List in this time, and he's going to be part of creating this, as well as the New Temple Order with another fellow called Liebenfels. And so you have the New Temple Order, which is again closely related to the defunct or dispersed Knights Templar Order, which was a sister order of the Teutonic Order. And all of these are starting to come together between about 1901 and 1905. And by 1907, this New Temple Order by von Liebenfels is up and running, and in conjunction with the Cistercian monks. And it's the Cistercian monks that worked with the royal bloodlines to create the Knights Templar. So again, all of these connections have ancient roots. And then by 1910, you have the new Pergamum Museum being started. And so you're getting all of these organizations working within Germany at that time, directionally going in the same sort of direction. And then all of a sudden, by 1918, you have the Communist Revolution, and that's starting to get out of hand right out of the gate. And you have the creation of the Thule Society, and the DAP, German Workers Organization. And what's important about those two organizations is the Thule Society is based on ancient ideology of the Germans that goes back to before the flood. And this is the home of similar to Atlantis or Atlantis, and I'm not sure which. It could be either, because obviously there was more than one kind of civilization before the flood. At least I think so. How many there were? I mean, you could go 4, 7, 9, or 11. But the Thule Society is where the Aryan ideology comes from. So again, this whole Pan-Aryan ideology is being overlaid, and they believe that the Aryans go back to the giants before the flood. And this is going to become the basis for the New Man Project, because they're actually trying to backwards engineer Nephilim through breeding. And it's also why they adopt the real ideology, which is again a Rosicrucian ideology that it has a belief in blood and in hero worship and in the heroic sort of concept of the antediluvian world, where this is the blood of the Nephilim, as they like to believe that. And so it's got this collective hero concept of a divinely manifested right to rule through the bloodlines of the Vril. And it's also going to be this whole Vril ideology is also related with the Grail ideology, which again is all about the bloodlines of the Nephilim. So they're mixing two different things and really starting to mix a concoction. And then in 1918, you have Dietrich Eckhart coming along, and he's going to be the mentor for Hitler and bring him into the occult, because he sees them and he sees what sort of dynamism he has, and he is going to be his mentor. And he's the editor of a newspaper called the Volkige Provoker, as I recall. And he's also a member of the Thule Society. So again, now we start to see all of these things start to come into place. And in 1919, Hitler joins the DAP. And then by 1920, the Thule Society buys the Volkige Provoker newspaper with Eckhart as the editor and the mentor to Hitler. And so, and again, I'm just going to give a few more dates and things to show how things come together, and we can dig into some more of the details. And I'll let you back in, Dan. And between 1923 and 25, you have the Thule Society, or the Hitler youth movement, being organized. In 1930, you have the Nazis becoming the second party in the election, and the Pergamum Museum is completed. And then by 1933, you have the Nuremberg rallies, and then you have them taking power, and you have the Reich Church being created as this pan-Aryan Ariosophy religion that has Jesus as a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Aryan and not Jewish, and taking over the religious aspect of Germany. So you have all of these secret societies coming together. And also this new rogue theosophical religion that they call Ariosophy being the underpinning. And what's analogous here is that you have an antichrist figure like Hitler, and you have this polytheist Babel-like religion bringing Hitler to power. And this is what is going to happen in the end time.
It's amazing. Like I said earlier, it's like a witch's brew of toxic pollution, of giant soup. I can't even put it in words, to tell you the truth. It's just amazing how disgusting it is. And I want to ask you too, what was Aleister Crowley and Madame H.P. Blavatsky's influence in this whole thing?
Well, they had a major influence and not only were they supporting the rise of Hitler and helping them to get Germany going, but Aleister Crowley is from the Golden Dawn Society, and that's the Rosicrucians, right? And so their sister organizations are helping to fund and bring and justify and propagandize Hitler's ideologies in the West. So, one of the things they were doing was they were preparing the West for Hitler to take over until he goes totally rogue and they have to take him down.
Yeah, and the whole theosophy with Madame H.P. Blavatsky, I mean, like as you said earlier, it was basically the foundation of Ariosophy, and it's amazing how they just interweave all these occultism philosophies into one and push this, at the time they were trying to push a new world order then, and as you see it today, man, like all the agencies, or the intelligence agencies, the space program, are all run by these former Nazis.
Yep. Yeah. And you look at Theosophy and Helen Blavatsky. I always struggle with her name. Blavatsky, and she takes on as the sort of an icon of her and her movement, the swastika, which comes out of Eastern mysticism. And this is the same swastika that the Germans are going to adopt. And this is a symbol that is, absolutely unbelievable that people miss that link, that this is where he got it from. They were the ones who funded that religion and started that religion, along with the secret societies, and it becomes one of the major symbols of the Nazi Empire. And one of the other ones is the Maltese cross, right? This is a cross that goes back to Sumeria and the Anunnaki. It's the cross that came up through the Templar orders, and you have different versions of that color. But you have the same design, whether or not it's the Teutonic Knights or the Knights Templar or the Knights of Malta. So they're taking on all of that iconology, and they're advertising in plain sight who they are, what they're doing, and what type of religion that they have, and this all gets swept under the carpet as just, it's there, but it's not important.
Oh yeah, but Hitler was a Christian. It makes me laugh every time people say that, man. And it shows you how much people lack the knowledge of history. It really is. And I blame, the History Channel, blame the public schools. As we all know, just they love to water down history, glorify people like the Knights Templar, make them look like these great crusaders, and it's sickening. Then when they bring up the Illuminati, oh no, it's just an organization that only existed for a short amount of years, and they were abolished and everything else. So you get a big watering down of history through the public. I call today's German order, which is the mainstream media. I call it today's German Union.
And the crazy thing is, as we look at all of this, a lot of details and everything throughout, but look at a Babel religion that has an antichrist figure and has the throne of Satan, of Pergamum, all together. And they're trying to create the Third Reich, which is going to rule for 1,000 years, which again is a millennium. To copy what the true Messiah is going to do. This stuff is not coincidental. This is a plan that they've had since the beginning of time, and it keeps repeating itself. If you look at all of the main empires of history, they have that same organizational structure.
Absolutely.
And they all have the same goal. Babel and Nimrod was the same thing. And what happened before the flood is again the same thing that happened. And what happens before the flood is you have the apocalypse of the flood. Whereas we're going to have the apocalypse by fire in the end time. And that's why Jesus warns us that it's going to be like the days of Noah. Just as Noah lived 950 years, and actually called the days of Noah specifically and exactly just as recanted what Jesus tells us in Genesis 9, Matthew 24, or Mark or Luke parallel accountings of it. And so you need to understand what happened the first apocalypse, and then Luke brings in that transition and the accounting of the days of Lot, as well as the days of Noah, because Sodom, which I think is the home of the second incursion, the creation of giants, is destroyed by fire, and time apocalypse will be all about is destruction by fire. So again, all of that is absolutely 100% related, and again analogous going to happen in the end time.
Now, I know as UFO enthusiasts out there with the aliens and all that stuff there, but the Nordics, they refer to as, this race of so-called aliens, fallen angels, whatever, Nephilim I call them, but there's so-called race of Nordics that are supposed to be blonde hair, blue eyes. Is this any way association with the Aryan race that they talk about?
It's exactly the same race, and that's the connection with the Thule Society and ancient Thule. And so after the flood in this belief system is that the tribe of Anu, which we would also know as Tuatha Danann, are part of the giants that are escaping out of Tartarus and Scythia after the flood. What's important about that is you have, from the giants before the flood, you have red hair and hazel-eyed, green-eyed pale giants, and you have blonde hair, blue-eyed, and pale white-skinned giants that were part of the Atlantean race, and most of the common descriptions of these giants before the flood. These ones are also associated with the Tuatha Danann, as I just mentioned, and not only migrate north the Danube and into Germany and into Russia and into Ukraine and also into Norway and Sweden where the Vikings they were a big part of the Viking society, but also over to Ireland and England. And so you have the red hair hazel-eye ones going over to Ireland and over to England, Scotland, and you have the blonde hair, blue-eyed ones that are had migrated up into Germany and northwards into Norway. So it's part of that whole ideology, and that's the same people that are described as the Marianu or the Aryans. And these are the same Aryans that go down into the Middle East, and they intermarry with I think are and commingle with Nimrod's empire, where the metallic dynasty starts to come from. And they'll even go further down and into Edom and the Amalekim and the Horim, and then over to Egypt as well, and intermarry. So they are. And I think these aren't really the Aryans from the flood. I think these are the Rephaim. So I think it's part of the second incursion. But I recognize we don't have gun verse as to how giants show up. I just lean on second incursion. And then you also have another wing of the Aryans that go into India to start the Indian culture or change the Indian culture and bring in the Brahmin concept and the bloodlines of the rulers. And that's why you have like with the religions out of Persia of that time, like Zoroastrianism, you have gods and names that are very similar to Hindu gods as they are in the Persian area, where the metallic dynasties come from. Syria, Babylon, Persia, Medes, all part of that same religious history. And even the Persians actually take their bloodlines back to the area. So again, there's a long history that they try and string in and wrap their arms around. That's part of their legacy. And that new man that they're trying to create is that blonde-haired, blue-eyed Nephilim of old. And they're hoping purity of genetics that they're going to recreate new Nephilim for their world empire that they're trying to accomplish.
Now I got a question while we're still on this. Now Joseph Smith with the Church of Mormons, he claimed that he's seen Jesus and God as white people and talked about getting visited by these people. Does this have any relation?
Well, the Mormons are deeply related to Freemasonry, right? In terms of how they're started. They're Masons that are started. And again, you have this sort of a class top. So it's like a organized, set up as an organizational structure like a secret society. And a lot of their beliefs at the level of becoming gods is very much similar. So and what they do is they typically gain that understanding. And I'm not trying to knock Mormons. I'm just saying, here's the connections. Typically, polytheist religions do not accept the Bible as it's written, and that they interpret it, or they add on to it. And again, in that religion, you have the Mormon, which add on to the Bible, and now becomes the defining nature for the Bible. as opposed to being vice versa. And again, that's kind of what the Targum did to the Holy Scriptures that Jesus spoke against. Oral traditions or doctrines of men and rewriting. You can't rewrite what God has given us. And Jesus testified to that. So I think one needs to be careful of that. And I think there's a lot of good Mormons, but stick to the Bible. Don't use that add-on stuff. You can't rewrite and add scripture onto it. That's just not, in my view, permissible. So we need to keep an eye on those things. And secret societies are always out there, causing concern within Christianity and trying to infiltrate it and change it because they want to lead people away from God. That's what they're doing.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Page 324, when you talked about the tarot cards were devised to pass on secret ideologies that was banned by the Roman Catholic Church. Do you want to expand on that at all? Because I know today's playing cards we have the same symbols, the clubs, spades, and hearts and everything, the diamonds, that are the same thing as the tarot cards. And it mentions, so you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean that is again all occult religious stuff. And it's turned into interesting playing things. But these symbols all go back to occult meanings. So you have like the heart, and that's typically the matriarchal aspect and the female goddess aspect, right? And you have the spade, which is like a spear and the spear of Longinus and the spear of the Nephilim and the patriarchal bloodline. And so the playing cards were used as a way of communicating and are based out of the tarot cards. The symbols are all the same. If you look at the tarot cards, you'll find that there's an extraordinary relationship there. But it's just sort of part of trying to see the future without the means of God. And so again, it's all part of that whole ideology to lead people away from God.
And page 325, you talk about the treasure of ages that was split up by the 45th Infantry, I believe. And do you want to get into details what these treasures actually were? And
I mean, there's a significant amount. I'm not sure I can remember off the top of my head what all of those treasures were. But as I said, these were fragments of wood that some people think might be from the ark. They had things from the temple. They had pre-runic tablets. They had goblets. They had plaques with uniform script on it. They had gold and silver and precious jewels, and They also had things in there that just weren't being listed out there. But we do know is they thought they had jackpot. And so to me that means they're not communicating over the open wire ever written record all of the things that they actually had. But it was just an incredible find that we haven't seen turn up anywhere. We don't really know where all of this stuff went.
Yeah, and they talk about the spear of Charlemagne.
Spear. Yep.
Is that the spear they believe that pierced Jesus on the cross?
Yes, that's the spear of Longinus, as they like to call it, or the lance of Charlemagne, or the Grail spear of Destiny, as they like to call it, and it's thought to be the original rod of the Anunnaki of the Ring Lords. I don't know how they connect the two. I think they're talking actually there's two different one that stabbed Jesus, because that would have been from a Roman, right? Yeah. As opposed, but it'd be sort of representative of that rod of the Anunnaki Ring Lords, and it goes back to that ancient sort of understanding the word that rod is also the rule of government, right? And thus it's the divine right to rule.
Yeah, because Moses had a staff too, and it's like every key figure had some kind of a staff or rod that would lead. Moses led his people, with God out of the slavery of Egypt, and so so a lot of significance.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess I should have mentioned on the playing cards as well. The clubs are the scepters or the wizard's wands, right? And religion and magic and knowledge, it's that aspect. So again, it's reflecting that organizational structure. The diamonds are pentacles or pentagons, as they're originally known, and connected back to Isis and Azazel and to Satan. So again, just be aware of the symbology as you're handling some cards, and then that's why some of the you get the different sort of looks and pictures of the faces on the cards. And again, they've got so many different codes and allegories that are involved on those playing cards. But it just shows you the depth of the allegory and the depth of codes and things that they have, and that all of this, the Nazi regime was absolutely obsessed by and wanted to get their hands on because they believed it was going to lead them to be able to dominate the whole world. You have to remember, Germany wasn't that big of a country. And it was absolutely broke and totally ruined after World War I, and still broke by the time Hitler came to power. So they were looking at anything and everything to help promote their cause, and they were ruthless in doing it. And they had all of these groups going around the world trying to bring all of this stuff back in.
Yeah, it's I read this chapter twice, to be honest with you, just to really absorb the information. And still, when you get to the depths of the secret societies and they're rolling it, and it's wow. You know what I mean? It's a big puzzle to put together, and I can understand the average folks out there like, wow, where do they even start? But I mean, you really need to understand, folks, that secret societies play a huge role in not just German history, American history as well. I mean, if you want to expand on Operation Paperclip, how that affects, how it's all connected.
Well, Operation Paperclip is it's all of the scientists that are developing all of the knowledge, right? So to all of the military aspect, all of the rocketry aspect, whatever they're doing in nuclear sciences. I think it was also part of the basis of quantum mechanics that were coming part of it. Because again, quantum mechanics, all of the people in quantum math and computing in the beginning. They understood that you had to be fully abreast and adept at the up and chads and the betas to understand the concept, to do the math. And so all of this knowledge is what was being developed in Nazi Germany. And the scientists, along with most of the knowledge, is taken by the CIA back to the U.S. And they're made U.S. citizens, and they've been developing all of this stuff ever since. And again, I think we've seen another acceleration of this, and I think there's more communications going on with the other realm to be able to continue to develop this, to get the world up to speed in terms of the weapons that they want to have for the rendezvous with destiny when they bring on the end time. So with Operation Paperclip, you don't really lose anything. It just gets more money behind it with the American government. That's all going on in secrecy. So, God only knows what they've been able to develop. And I don't believe that they didn't also take with them this whole concept of how do you backward engineer the blood to create new Nephilim? Or how do you find a way through DNA manipulation to create new Nephilim? I think that's part of that as well, as they try and create that new man for the end time.
Absolutely. And when we get to a little bit with the super soldier, the universal soldier and everything else. Where are we with that right now? Because I know even back then they were looking to establish us like a super soldier. Like, anybody seen the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Universal Soldier? Well, that's not an idea out of somebody's head. This is an actual project that the Nazis were working on, and I believe expanded here in the United States. What's going on with that right now?
Well, I mean, in two aspects. We look at transhumanism as being one aspect of it. That's really, how most of the super soldier sort of thing comes about. But mechanical parts aren't sort of the end all be all, right? What you really want to do is be able to create biological parts that can do the same thing that mechanics can do. And so that and the cloning aspect and DNA manipulation is all coming together, but it's probably been there and utilized for quite some time as sort of the transhumanism aspect, but they're moving it into more of a biological aspect so that they can create something that is seamless within humans. And I believe they're heading in the direction that we get descriptions of in Revelation 9. Not the scorpions that come out of the beast, out of the abyss, a bad Azazel Apollyon. But with the beings that are in the war that is described, which I think is the false Armageddon, the one that Antichrist takes credit for winning as part of his credentials as being the Messiah, Jesus. But you get these descriptions of these beings in that army. These are clearly biological type of soldiers and wedding of beings into animals or riding on them or whatever. And I think they are developing that type of weaponry beyond the sort of standard as we understand, the bionic man or transhumanism, right? I think it's evolving beyond that, and AI is now being merged into that. So you're going to see incredible type of weaponry as we move into the end time that is just beyond our imaginations. And I think these are the same beings that are described in the Joel 1 and 2 war, and I think that's the same war.
And also, last page of the chapter you mentioned that the Nazis thought they were the descendants of the Atlanteans. Is that to do with the bloodlines and everything as well?
Yeah, again that goes back to Thule. So either Thule is Atlantis or it's a separate sister civilization, or maybe even deemed to be part of the original 10 groups of or 10 nations or 10 empires that were made up of the Atlantean Empire, as Timaeus talks about Plato. And again, this is the same thing that they're trying to set up now with the 10 groups of nations around the world that the Club of Rome was set up in the late 60s to do. And again, if somebody wants to get hold of everything, Google it. There's lots of maps out there. People think of how they divided the world into those 10 groups of nations, spheres of influence, trading blocks, whatever you want to call them, like NAFTA or the old Soviet group, or a China-dominated group. Those types of things is how they're imagining to split up the world.
Absolutely. So before we go, now the secret societies. This is going to be a big question by a lot of listeners. Are these secret societies around today, and what is that influence on the world government that they're trying to push today?
Well, all of the secret societies, whether it's the Rosicrucians or it's the Illuminati or it's Freemasons or any of their other organizations associated with them, are heavily involved with all of the countries all around the world, the UN. They are trying to put this together in the image of what the Club of Rome has imagined. And the Club of Rome is made up of pure bloodlines that report to the Committee of 300 and or the upper half of the Rosicrucians, and they'll have other people working with them, but the ones running that group are all purebloods. And I'll give an example of what I'm talking about is when I was growing up in the 60s on CBC News, we had lots of flashes where Pierre Trudeau was going into a Club of Rome meeting. And Trudeau is Prime Minister of Canada at that time. And his son is Justin Trudeau. And Trudeau's were one of the first families of Quebec as it was being pioneered. No, Pierre Trudeau marries Margaret Sinclair, who is of the bloodline relationships and genealogies that are direct to the Sinclairs, who established Freemasonry after the fall of the Templars. And the Templars were broken up in 1307. So between 1307 and 1320, Freemasonry is put back together and complete with a Rosy Cross order for the adepts. And what's interesting about the Sinclairs is that they are the Saint Clairs. And who the Saint Clairs are, and the Sinclairs not only build Rosslyn Chapel, but the Sinclairs take their name back to the Sinclairs because they were part of the people that came from Normandy, who descended from Rollo, the Vikings. In 911, they appropriated Normandy from the French, and they called the treaty of St. Clair to put it in a transliterated English format. And so the Rollo family took the names of St. Clair. And so the descendants of St. Clairs and of Rollo is William the Conqueror, who retakes the throne of England in 1066. And the De Bruces are part of that same family members as the Sinclairs, whereas they moved into Scotland, and they ended up controlling the Scottish bloodline. And Henry St. Clair was a battle partner with Hugh de Payon at the formation of the original Knights Templar, and considered one of the members of the founders. And so these are the when I talk about the royal bloodlines that are part of the Club of Rome and the 300, how it's all interconnected. And what's also interesting, and I'll just throw some other ones, is that Justin and Pierre were family friends with the Aga Khan. And the Aga Khan is the Sufis, which is the polytheist or the mystical portion of Islam. And what's interesting about that, this is the same religion and organization that formed the assassins who worked with the Templars when they formed and worked together and provided the organizational structure for the Knights Templar that they take back to Europe that becomes the organization for the secret societies going forward. So if you're going to understand what's going on with things, you need to understand the mystical religion works with the secret societies and the royal bloodlines, and what that organizational structure is made of, and after you start to put those things together, you can start to look at things through a clearer lens. And you can look at history through that lens. You're talking about Freemasons and secret societies being involved on the American Revolution and the Constitution. And they were also involved with the overthrow of the French government as well, as they're trying to consolidate power under certain bloodlines and rulers, and overthrowing other ones that were, in that case, France was too loyal to the Catholic Church, who was opposing them at that time. Not that the Catholic hasn't been influenced by secret societies, because these are the same people who created the Jesuits inside Catholicism, and the Cistercians were there, and the Augustines, and on. Those are all the monastic orders that go back to the Essenes that are part of this polytheism, and just as the Essenes are thought to be the founders of modern masonry. So I mean, it's all interconnected. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's funny, when I first started this journey, this truth journey, like a couple decades ago, man, and at first I'm looking at everything, I'm like, what the heck does this got to do with anything? Then when you learn, it's like emptying a puzzle out on the table. You're like, where do I even start? And there's no picture on the box. You learn, all right, let's put the frame together, let's put like pieces together, and then all of a sudden everything starts making sense. And everything that Gary's just mentioned, it's all interconnected with each other somehow, some way down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah, and even there's very famous artists and writers that the Nazis would incorporate into their whole sort of culture that they were building. So Stefan George was an early 1900s poet and writer, an occultist, and of theosophy, and was working with people in England at the same time with same types of writings. And in his writings, he co-opts the title of Führer out of one of Wagner's operas. And that's going to be a title that he's going to be using for their movement in the occultist theosophical movement. And this is going to become a title that then passes on that Hitler takes. And Stefan George's writings were all used to indoctrinate all of Hitler's youth movement that was formed in 1923 that would create his SS. Right, that would enforce everything. So all of this brainwashing, and he co-opted this Führer as a long-run Führer, and Longren was an author of Volkisch ideology onto Grail ideology that Wagner used. And so what Wagner was doing in his plays was he was drawing heavily on the Volkisch ideology, which is that Pan-Aryan ideology, mixing that with Grail writers such as Eschenbach's Grail writings that were sponsored by the Templars to write these Grail stories of King Arthur, which is why you have Templars having show up in those in the imagery of the King Arthur and Grey Tales, because they were. The writing was sponsored by the Templars, and they believe they have an older Red Cross order that goes further back into history. And so this became a anti-Semitic type of ideology, which is the part that went rogue, which is why the Satanic Jews part of the secret society said, no, this has got to come to an end, why they rose up. But what's interesting is when Hitler, and he admired Wagner so much that when he had created the Reich Church in 1933, and he went to a Wagner opera before he announced it, and right after that he announced the Reich Church, which is again that Pan-Ariosophy, anti-Semitic religion that he's going to replace all religions with.
So yeah, well, you see it now, man, like the formation of this ecumenical movement, which the UN adopted as official one world religion, and you're seeing all this stuff coming apart now, man. And like as our Savior says, man, as the days of Noah, so shall it be in these latter days. And we're seeing everything but anything that happened in those days happening today.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be surprised because we have a Jesuit Pope that is actively leading this, and they are not an member of the World Council of Churches, but they've got 17 active full-time members, and what they're doing with that is they're saying to every not only Christian denomination outside the Catholic Church. And within the Catholic Church, but all the other religions that they're working in a parallel path is that all religions have to compromise their doctrines to create one unified doctrine that can be used as an umbrella religion. Tell me we're not moving towards Babel.
We are definitely. I mean, especially with everything. I mean, everything that the Pope, which I truly believe, I may be wrong, but I truly believe that 99.9% that Pope Francis is the false prophet of the end times. I could be wrong, and it could be the next Pope who we don't know, but I mean, I truly believe that because what he's doing, I mean, he's been doing more than any other Pope in this ecumenical type movement that any other Pope has ever done. And he's spearheading this whole progressive, one world, one global government agenda.
He certainly is laying the way. I'm not convinced he's false prophet. I think he may be more akin to what they call the anti-pope of the end time. And this is the pope that prepares the way for the false prophet. So he changes all of the doctrines and things and allows the false prophet all of their miracles and stuff to take this thing worldwide. And so again, what's interesting is that when you look at Nostradamus, who's a Rosicrucian, and everybody's familiar with him, and his three Antichrist figures, and I'll relate that to the false prophet here in a second, is that you have first two Antichrists are Napoleon and Hitler. And of course, we already talked about Napoleon, the French Revolution being taken over by the triumvirates, which are all Masons. It's a Masonic organized revolution, and it's replaced with the cult of reason, and they de-Christianize all of the churches, and they set up ISIS as the mother goddess. And this is the same religion that is theosophy and Gnosticism, right? They called it the cult of reason. And along comes an Antichrist who takes that over in Napoleon, right? And so he's the first one. And again, you have that organizational structure, and then you have the Nazis. Hitler is supposed to be the Hitler of the Nostradamus prophecies, and that is an ancient name for the Danube, which Hitler was born on, as opposed to being a close similarity to the form of the Hitler name. And of course, he has everything but a false prophet. Although one can look at some of the peoples that were coming up there that may have been, like Alfred Rosenberg. He was making the doctrine for them, and he was also a member of the Thule Society, and he wrote the 20th century, and he proclaimed the death of Christianity. He believed Volkisch ideology would regain the German soul. He may have become that false prophet had the Germans succeeded. So again, just another one of those people that are putting this whole cosmology together for the Germans, and then you move that forward. We're going to have another, and we're going to have a false prophet. Nostradamus predicts that this is going to be a black pope. What's interesting about that is that if you're a pope, you're a white pope. But if you're a leader of the Jesuits, you're called a black pope. So now we have a black pope that also acts as a white pope that is running Christianity, just as Nostradamus predicted. So he called him the last pope, and he's known as the anti-pope. And it lines up again with the prophecy of popes in terms of things that are in terms of the number of the popes makes Francis the last one. Also along with his description for him. So I think he's probably the one who makes the way for the false prophet. Who knows? He could be false prophet as well. We don't know.
Yeah, he's got a good resume for it, and so if it's not him,
he's a little bit old.
Yeah.
Just a little bit old, I think. But he's also been making the Mary apparition, the latest one in the 90s that are a major one, Medjugorje, a significant part in its recognition and fully under his and Vatican control. And they basically have stated that the visions of the children were true, and the things that they were told, is becoming part of their dogma. So, and these children are going to be prophets that come out with 10 prophecies of doom to have everybody convert to this religion. So again, you see all of these things coming together, which is why I think Rome will be Babylon, and it will be a city, an organization, and a religion, and will control all the business.
You mentioned that. The first thing that came to my head, not saying that these people are, but who are the two people right now? You had the David Hogg spearheading to take the guns away. Now you have Greta Thunberg just going on TV all angry, and all of a sudden she's Time Magazine's Person of the Year, and preaching this climate change just for everybody to fall into this Greenpeace global initiative. this is insane what's going on. And when you mentioned that, I'm not saying these are the prophets you mentioned, but it just came right to my head when you mentioned about these false prophets coming along like that.
Well, it could very well be many false prophets, right? So I would expect more than just part of the Mary operations. And environmental thing is what they're trying to do to scare everybody into world government and into one sort of belief system. So directionally it's doing everything. So you can imagine somebody like that, turning that into that more of a religious thing, which I think we're already seeing with the environmentalists. Looking more and more like a dominated religion than anything with their faith and their dogma, which will mean if that's the case, then it goes back to the ancient part of the religion, which is a nature religion, right? And so I think one should expect to see false prophets coming for there. So she could be predicting all sorts of doom. That will either happen through coincidence or contrived, or through some sort of limited power that we have. And I'm not calling now. I'm just saying it's a possibility, or somebody else will come along and sort of harness that.
Well, personally, I think she's just a poor young teenager that's been manipulated and being used as a pawn by her parents and the establishment elite.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's unbelievable that you would use children before they've got all of their thoughts and maturity fully developed to do politics. It's just absolutely horrible.
It goes right back to the Hitler's Youth Brigade, how they use youth to promote the same kind of world government type stuff, anti-gun legislation and everything else.
Absolutely. And part of that whole process where the children will turn against their parents.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's your next chapter 2, chapter 46 of your book, The False Prophet, of your book, The Genesis 6 Conspiracy. So how could people get your book?
Well, the easiest way to get hold of my book is my website, Genesis6conspiracy.com, number 6conspiracy.com, and on there you can get a signed copy for me, or you can link over to barnesandnoble.com, or over to amazon.com, or to amazon.ca, or link into a Kindle version to purchase that through Amazon. It's also available through online websites. It's also available through your local bookstore. It's distributed by bookmasters. They may or may not have it on the shelf, but they don't want to support your local store. They can order it in from bookmasters. So lots of ways to get a hold of the book. And on my website, I have a generous of all 98 chapters, and so you get a good feel. So you'll know very quickly whether or not it's a book for you or not. But what I will tell you is this is the most complete book on giant societies, religion that's out there that puts connects most of the dots together for you, and it is loaded with information. Not one of those books that you speed read, but it's designed in a way because there's 98 chapters that every chapter is a mini story that leads into the next chapter and coming up as the book unfolds. Especially when you get into the last three sections or make it four sections. It really starts to work in a way that is unbelievable. And people will go back and reread chapters because it's all isolated into chapters that they can go back and say, okay, I need more information on that. And that means the way it's written is that you don't have to read it all at once. You can put it down, come back to it. Each chapter average is about 6 or 7 pages. So you can read one chapter at a time, then come back or whatever you want to do with it.
The reason why I'm laughing for because my wife, she goes, "You've been reading that book for a long time now. I thought you were fast at reading." And it's like, you don't understand, man. And you can't see me in the screen right now, but when you see the video, you see it. I got the book right here. In the back of the book, I got tons and tons of notes and pages for it. And folks, this is a book. This is a legit textbook of detailed information. And usually a book like this, it'll take me about a week to go through it too. I've been at this for months, and because there's so much information in this, and when you match it with scripture, world history, you're like, wow. I mean, it's that detailed, and it goes from the Nephilim to the giants before the flood, after the flood, Gilgamesh, Nimrod, the secret societies, everything to do with today. I mean, it goes from the beginning to the very end. And aside from the Bible, I think this is one of the best books ever created. No word of a lie. This is amazing. And the Genesis 6 Conspiracy goes a long way. Genesis6conspiracy.com. So, Gary, if there's anything else you want to throw in here real quick?
No, I think we've covered a lot of information about Hitler and Nazism and how scary of a time that actually was. And I would underline that. Another part of the analogy is how they created a Holocaust against Jewish people, and they would have created multiple genocides thereafter. And what's important to understand about that is we're going to see two major genocides in the end time. You're going to have a genocide in the first three and a half years that's done by Babylon, and then after the midpoint, when Antichrist takes power and he destroys Babylon, he's going to turn again on the Jewish people, and that's the people are fleeing in Jerusalem in Matthew 24 and Mark 13 and the Luke chapters, and also these are the same people that are described in Revelation, Jewish people. And you're also after that point, Antichrist is going to turn all those people again who worship Jesus. So again, the analogies of what happened in World War II are going to be very similar to what happened in the end time. And I think we're going to see some sort of mass death with fire, whether it's through the gas chamber or the ovens, but I think it's going to be very similar because nothing is new under the sun, and it just keeps repeating itself until this age is completed. Which I think we're actually in the generation. So I think we're going to see this thing happen, whether or not it's the next 20 years or it takes a little bit longer. We don't know how long that generation could be. 70 years, it could be 120 years.
Absolutely. Well, Gary, thank you so much for joining me, man. And this is a great show here, and very interesting topic. And I do want to have you on again because we could do probably 100 shows easily on the stuff. I mean,
easy. Yeah,
unreal stuff, man.
Easy.
And it's awesome to see you on 90C TV. So as you all know, I'm a co-host with John Hall once a week on The Cutting Edge. And also check out the Midnight Ride every Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and you'll see Gary Wayne on there a lot. He's been on there a ton of shows, and that's where I seen your work from. And John Pounders highly recommend me to have you on the show here, and it's a great show, man. This is the second time I had you on, and what an abundance of information. You and David Carrico, probably the best researchers I've ever known when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah, if people haven't seen me with David Carrico and how we get into a subject, just Google our names on UCTV, and there's a lot of shows that just go super deep into all different aspects of the Bible and secret societies or whatever. We've done so many shows I can't name them all, but we make a good pair.
Oh yeah, watching you and David, Ben, it's like you guys could be on it for 6 hours. And
he's fun to work with.
No absolutely. But if you want to hold tight right there for a second, I'm going to close out the show.
Okay.
All right, folks, this was the Dan Bidondi Show on TruthRadioShow.com, and we hope to have Gary on once again for another subject for another time. But like always, I want to thank you all. God bless, shalom, and we'll see you soon.